the public health officers that were there that day did not listen to us.
Oh, we showed the papers.
We showed them the papers and
the situation.
Situation and all, and at the end of the day, they just wrote us huge tickets. We both received $5,750 each, totaling $11,500 in tickets. And we didn't know what to do.
There's been a lot of talk lately about people leaving Canada to other places in the world to find freedom. But in this Fight the Fine story, you'll learn from a couple, the Goyzuetas and their children, who tried to enter Canada to stay here and were treated like criminals on their way in.
Warning, censorship.
Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News. In another Fight the Fines win for you, a couple was fined over $11,000 when entering the supposedly true north, strong and free country of Canada. But thanks to people like yourself who have been generously donating at fightthefines.com, we were able to partner with the Democracy Fund charity and hire them top-notch lawyers from the law firm Gray, Woke and Spencer. You're going to hear from one of the lawyers from that firm, Stephen Whitehead. You've seen his face before. He's getting win after win after win. But we're going to talk to the couple first. And before we do that, I just want to make sure you know that we've helped over 2,000 Canadians fight tyrannical COVID fines and restrictions. And we're still doing that. It's not over. And now there's new quarantine situations happening from people trying to enter Canada from Africa. So if you want to continue to support everyday people like this, just trying to go home when they get into the country, please donate at fightthefines.com. We appreciate your support. Thanks so much for inviting us into your home. There was good news in regards to the over $11,000 fines you guys received. For those who don't know, because this is actually our first time doing this report, tell us why you guys received such a slap-worthy fine.
Well, as soon as we arrived to Canada, by the way, we were moving to Canada. My wife just landed. It was almost 6 months ago, back in June. Back then, everyone, regardless of your medical status, back then you had to be quarantined and take an arrival PCR test, and then take another PCR test on day 8, if I remember correctly. So when we arrived, we refused the hotel quarantine, partly because we were a family of 5, which includes my 5-year-old daughter. I had no plans on locking her up in a hotel room. And another reason is because my wife has a medical condition, which I brought with me. She requires a very special diet.
I'm very allergic to food.
Exactly. She cannot eat gluten, corn, soy,
Tomatoes.
even tomatoes.
Yeah.
Some of the plants of the nightshade family. So she has a very particular diet, and the public health officers that were there that day did not listen to us.
Oh, we showed the papers.
We showed them the papers and
the situation.
Situation and all, and at the end of the day, they just wrote us huge tickets. We both received $5,750 each, totaling $11,500 in tickets. And we didn't know what to do. After getting home, we decided to fight this. Obviously, we disputed the tickets. After the 14-day quarantine, we went to the courthouse and entered our dispute, and contacted Rebel News. I heard of the fund you guys were managing for helping Canadians fight the fines. So I did. That's exactly what I did, and I was contacted by lawyers, by legal representation, and well, time passed. I think it was in the month of September. I received a letter from ICBC, just for me, not her, charging me the ticket, and that was going to be complicated because I was just convalidating my Peruvian driving license with my Canadian driver license, and they wouldn't let me pay the fee for the driver license unless I
Pay the ticket.
paid the ticket, and
Right.
I wanted, and I told them, but it's disputed. So I contacted the lawyers that Rebel News provided, and they fixed that. They contacted ICBC, and they fixed that matter. I didn't have to pay anything. They entered my dispute, and then we were given a notice of hearing for November, which we weren't in the country, by the way. We had to travel. So I was a bit nervous. So I called up the lawyers again, and they looked into the matter. And a couple of days later, they emailed us with some very good news that a stay of proceedings was entered in both of our cases, and the tickets were dropped.
Yay, that is good news because that's a crazy fine. I mean,
Relief too.
yeah. What would it have been like you're coming to a new country and then having to pay that? What would that have meant for you guys?
No, we were worried because we have a lot of expenses when you just arrive to a new country. No?
Yes, and
Adding $11,000 was not in our budget. Believe me.
back then I didn't even have a bank account.
Yes.
I just brought some cash with me, and as soon as I opened a bank account after the quarantine was over, I was able to wire some money from Peru. But that's really crazy. That amount would have
It's been
brought
hard.
us to our knees.
It's been hard because although he's Canadian, he doesn't have a record here. So he could not have a credit card or take a loan or
Exactly.
anything, no. So they give me a credit card as an immigrant, no, and I take one for him, an extra for him.
Oh.
But we don't have that amount of money, no.
Well, and who wants to put that on credit? And
Yeah.
thankfully, you didn't experience what other people have. We've covered stories with other people who had dietary restrictions. I believe my colleague, David Menzies, and the gentleman was fed exactly what he was allergic to. And we see even now we're hearing people are not being fed properly in the quarantine facilities from the Omicron variant, people coming from African countries. We're going to jump to Stephen Whitehead right now, one of the lawyers from Gray, Woke, and Spencer's who would have been helping with your case. But then when we come back, I want to hear a little bit about Peru, what it's like there since life with COVID-19 versus Canada. But we've got Stephen Whitehead here, one of the amazing lawyers taking on Fight the Fines case and winning a ton of cases in British Columbia. This case is about the Goyzuetas and their win. Tell us a little bit about what happened there.
Yeah, so I mean, we managed to get the Goyzuetas matters stayed right at a preliminary step. This is all due to the due diligence of our staff. I'm going to give a special shout out to Megan, who worked particularly hard with these two, and pointing out our position early on, and just having a stay of proceedings entered before the matter has to go through all of the stress of booking trial dates, and the overwhelm that can bring to people. At the end of the day, these were two kind people. They worked together and worked with us, and when that happens, every once in a while good things happen. So this was a really nice case to come out on the other side with, and with a minimal impact on these individuals' lives.
You know what? And that's a good point you raised about Megan. They ranted and raved about her, and it just shows that this is a team that people are donating towards to help couples like this pleasant couple whose wife had medical conditions and valid concerns about being trapped in a COVID hotel. So thank you so much for your good work, and Megan's as well.
Yes, thank you to Megan, for sure.
What's life like in Peru with COVID-19 versus Canada?
Well, it's been crazy. Since COVID began, they closed all the schools. And when in June, when we moved, is that kids have only virtual classes. They're not socializing until September. The parks recently opened. Can you imagine the kids being all day in the house? They couldn't go to the grocery store with me.
Oh.
They couldn't go to school. They couldn't get together. And so can you imagine? I have a 5-year-old, and they need to be with other friends, to socialize, to be together, so they can experience new things. No, so from my friends, they told me that they're going to school twice a week only. No, and it's not enjoying this part of their childhood. No.
Definitely, children are in my opinion, definitely the most impacted in this situation. I mean, there's economic hardships, but the children, I mean, their childhood. I know my nephew. He was graduating from high schools, and he had no graduation ceremony, no graduating
Prom
party,
yeah.
no nothing. His graduation was via laptop.
Wow,
That's pretty bad. So yes, situation in Peru, they have different measures. They do not have the quarantine stuff that they have here in Canada, so it's different. Entering Peru it's easier, but on the other side, family wise, once you're in there, it's very it can get quite draconian for them.
Wow, it definitely seems like a global thing that we're seeing happening here. Thank you guys so much for telling your story. What message do you have to the people who came together and donated at Fight the Fines to help people like you and actually thousands, over 2,000 other Canadians fight their tyrannical COVID-19 fines?
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yes.
I thank all the people that donate. I thank Rebel News for their effort as well. I myself donate as well, and keep donating and keep fighting.
Keep knowing your rights.
Know your rights. Stand your
Yeah.
ground. This is something we can do this. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough the next few months, I think, but we got this.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the optimism. Thank you, guys. The Goyzuetas are right. We have to continue to fight to defend freedom. So thank you for everyone who continues to donate at fightthefines.com. And if you want to support the journalism that we do, that not only brings you the other side of the story, but also helps with freedoms in Canada, please check out rebelnewsstore.com. For a limited amount of time, you can use coupon code DREA10. So make sure you get all your Christmas shopping done there as well. Again, that's rebelnewsstore.com, and that goes to support our journalism here. We appreciate your support.